Thank you, Brother Moore. And good evening and welcome, brethren, to another Wednesday night meeting. Our prayer thought tonight is taken from, seems to be in the wrong place actually. Last minute shifting around. This is taken from Testimonies, Volume 5, page 350. The Lord would be pleased to have his people more considerate than they are now, more merciful and more helpful to one another. Those who shall finally inherit the heavenly kingdom must be transformed by divine grace. They must be pure in heart and life and possess a symmetrical character. And it doesn't say that they must have great knowledge of prophecy and doctrine and so on. And there'll be children who have no knowledge of doctrine and prophecy who are resurrected and saved. To be saved, and there'll be others who come in at the last moment, like the thief on the cross, and also have a small knowledge in some ways. But we must be pure in heart and life and possess a symmetrical character. That comes from doing. That comes from years of practicing. So as a people, we have been blessed by having great light. We have more light than, and we say this in no way arrogantly, but we have more light than anyone else that has ever had. And that has actually caused some Davidians to become confused. They think that knowing the truth is what counts. It's not. Let me repeat that. It is not knowing the truth that counts. Satan knows the truth even better than we do. It is practicing the truth, brethren. It is living the truth. But Davidians have been confused a long time, and many Davidians. And it is only our own fault that we are confused. The message there's nothing to confuse us in the message. There's no reason to be confused. The Lord would have us understand what he wants. He is pleased to have his people more considerate than they are now, more merciful and more helpful to one another. Why? Because that is how we have to be to get to heaven. There will be none of this behavior that is so common now in heaven. The things that we take for granted every day, brethren, will keep us out of heaven. And the kingdom too, beforehand. We don't properly realize these things. We are not fully understanding the seriousness of our situation because it is normal and natural to us. After many years, a lifetime, even a Davidian lifetime, we have come in, and as those before us, we have gone the same way. Now, we can't blame our problems on those before us. It is true, though, that we tended to follow on in the same way. We gave emphasis in the same things, and we failed in the same ways that they failed, because if they can fail, I mean, we respect them, and so it must not be such a great thing. I saw a headline, and since it's exactly what the Spirit of Prophecy said, it wasn't even necessary to read the article. But it was, the gist of the heading was, if it was something like, is infidelity contagious? And what they found is that it is. Okay, well, we knew that already from the spirit of prophecy. But it's not just infidelity, it is all types of sin are contagious. Even the so-called small things, and there is no small things. If it's a violation of one of the 10 commandments, it's not a small thing. It's a breaking of the commandments. So it is contagious, and this is one of the most troubling aspects of sin today. Our sin influences others in the wrong way. And you might think, well, they need to do their own, be responsible for themselves. They are. The Lord will hold them responsible. He will also hold us responsible, brethren, for those people that we have set a bad example to. So remember that it is not just what we know, but what we do. It is very much what we do. So remember that the Lord is pleased by behavior that is kind and considerate and helpful to each other. He is displeased by grumbling, by inconsiderate behavior, being harsh and abrupt with other people, not being thoughtful of other people. Many times we live our life in peace and quiet to a large degree, and we are at fault in doing that. And you say, how could we be at fault? Because we have not bothered to glance away from our own narrow area of life. We don't feel for anyone else. We don't look at the other person. We don't extend a helping hand. Never should the day go by without us having credit in heaven for doing the things that the Lord has asked us to do. So the Lord would be pleased to have us live the truth in every regard. I don't want you to be discouraged. I want you actually to be encouraged. There's no, we cannot use the rod to beat people into the kingdom. If it was a good idea, we would do it, but you can't do it. The rod is used to lead the sheep, okay, to encourage the sheep. And of course, as Brother Haddoff points out, to catch sheep. But we're all caught right now. And so it doesn't apply to us. But seriously, brethren, the Lord does ask us and require us to live the message. And this is what it takes to succeed individually and collectively. All the talk, all the studies, all the knowledge in the world will have no effect if we aren't living it. We'll actually put people off of the message. We'll actually be diverting them off into the wrong path by our own actions. So it is, and not only will we harm ourselves, but we harm other people, as we said, and the work in general. And this, brethren, has been going on for a long time. At a certain point, some group of people, and I hope it's us, will wake up and say, yes, you know what? Let me change my focus here. Now, when we change our focus, it doesn't mean that we have renounced anything. And that will be a surprise to people when they find that we still teach everything that the Lord has given us. But we also know that as important as those things are, it's even more important, much more important, brethren, much more important for us to be living the truth that the Lord has given us. And that is what we're going to talk about, being kind, considerate, helpful Christians, Davidians tonight. God's people today need to be kind, friendly, and helpful, and other things too. But if you are one thing, you can't be another that is totally opposite. You can't be kind and be hurtful to people and angry, treat them in a bad way and inconsiderate and so on. So touching on a few key characteristics, imply many other things, of course. And we need to be kind, friendly, and helpful today, not by and by, not 50 years from now. It is not enough. There will be a people who embody all these things and more. There are great people and amazing people. I hope that we are part of it. We need to be. There's nothing else that's important compared to this. All the little things, the stumbling blocks that we daily go through, they're of no account, brethren. And we need to see that. We need to believe that. We need to remember it every moment of the day. Because it is now, today, that the Lord asks us to be this kind, friendly, and helpful people, which mean a lot of things. Heaven's law is always merciful, kind, tender, helpful, uplifting to others. We're not going to get a chance to even see heaven or the kingdom if we are not living these things out in our life. What does it mean to be helpful? You go about your own business. I have minded my own business, Brother Trevor. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay? You mind your own business in as far as telling other people how to mind their business. But we don't mind our own business when there's someone in the ditch of life at the side of the road. We have to care. And there's people who are not in the ditch, but they could benefit from a smile. Who is it that you know who would not benefit from a cheerful word and a smile? Is there anyone? No one. Everyone you meet can benefit. And to the extent that we don't do that habitually, religiously, then we are coming short. As we are uplifting to each other, we will be uplifted ourselves. The Lord knows what He's doing when He tells us these things, you know. As we do these things, we're going to be blessed. Greatly blessed, brethren. Amazingly blessed. And we'll then be in a position to bless others, which is what the Lord wants to see. Besides, He wants to see us being saved, He wants us to be saviors. He wants us to be helping other people in the right way. If we're so wrapped up in our own problems, our own life, our own selfishness, that we are not doing these things, we're not under heaven's law. But, Brother Trevor, I have read the message straight through 3 times. Yeah, and that is something that you must be ready to tell the judge someday. The Lord is displeased with many who claim to believe the truth. They act like unreasonable, passionate children. Sorry, this is not my own words, and this is not what I would prefer to have as the truth. It is the truth, brethren, but it's not what I prefer to have the truth. Not at all. Christ cannot accept their work. He does not need the service of those who are inspired by the enemy of all good. They actively work to push the ball down toward the other team's goal. Yes, they do. They set back to work, brethren. Everyone who behaves like this. Many connected with the work of God give way to their temper. They fret and grumble when things do not move in the way that pleases them. Yes, this is David's band, all right. We know this, and by the way, it couldn't happen. There couldn't be a more deserving person to be concerned about this anyway, because I myself have been in this too. Okay, we all have been there, and anyway, it's interesting to me to have a concern on this, because yes, many of us have fretted and grumbled and been in this very situation. The Lord is dishonored by this discontent and fault finding. If you see someone who is discontented and fault-finding, and he says, well, brother, there's things that are wrong, there are problems, I have to be discontented, I have to point these things out. In other words, he's saying he has to be fault-finding. No, he doesn't. First of all, it's the Lord's work. It's the Lord's business. Second, what should we be doing if we see things that are not to our liking? We need to be living our life in the right way. We need to be encouraging. We need to be positive. We need to be making a difference, not standing by grumbling and fault-finding and so on. Those who give way to these traits of character cannot inspire confidence in Christian, and they won't be allowed into heaven doing those things, brethren. And even while I was standing up for principle, brother, no, sir, I was doing the right thing. You might have thought that you were standing for the right, but you were doing it in a way that is condemned by inspiration. And you're not going to get into heaven with the good motives doing the wrong thing. My motives were good, but your actions were not. They were contrary to what the Lord has said. That we have in David's band many, many discontented and fault-finding people. It's part of being in David's band right now, but it's not actually a viable behavior for the long run. It's not even viable right now for us personally, brethren. Now, the Lord wants us to be kind, friendly, and helpful, and compassionate, and caring, and loving, and we need to truly love each other, not as the Christians in the churches of the world and the denominations love each other, but as the apostolic church practice this. That's the meaning of Christian love. Many, many Christians in other churches will claim to love their fellow man. And so we don't talk about love too much because it's like up here and we are way down here. And I don't want us to be hypocritical about these things. We talk about friends. Let's be friends. That's too much, by the way. You want to love each other, but you can't be friends? No, it doesn't work like that, brethren. And you can't be friends. Mostly we can't. But we should. The message requires us to be friends. Do not make enemies by your tongues. Make friends. And do not have your feelings on your fingertips, because that's what causes problems. You hurt my feelings. You looked at me wrong. You've talked to me wrong. Whatever. If you do, you yourself will feel the loss of friends, of social joy, and of opportunity and privilege to win souls to Christ. Now, the first part of social joy is you lose that and you'll be lonely. You'll be by yourself. You won't have the friendship and joy of having being close to other people. And this happens. People isolate themselves. No way, brother, I'm not going to talk to that person. I'm not even going to look at that person. If that's so, brethren, then you need to hear, as Peter did, if you can't do those things, you will have no part in the kingdom. No part at all. Do not, and it doesn't matter either, brethren, if you read the message several times and you know everything at your fingertips and so on. Do not end the day with no credit to be recorded on your page of on your page of Heaven's ledger. What is this? What is the Lord talking about? Credit, and in what way? Did you help somebody? Did you do a kind deed in some way? And yes, I did. I did do a kind deed for my children, my wife, my whatever, and my family. No, we're not talking about that. The heathens do that also. They treat their family kindly. What the Lord is speaking about is, were you kind and helpful to those around you? Now, we have to at first take thought on these things and do it deliberately. But after a while, it will become our nature. We will become saint-like. We will be kind, and I will even use the word loving as time goes on. And that's what we must be. To be the people God has required us to be, we have to be this people, this saint-like, loving people. Well, brethren, you know the standard is high. It's even higher than you imagine right now. We must be like that. We're not. Okay? I wouldn't pretend to you. I'm not pretending that I am. But we must. We must be like this. We must care about each other. We must care not only about each other, but we must even go so far as to care about our neighbor outside the gate, and maybe our neighbor even farther down the road. Yes, we must. Do not misinterpret other people's motives either. Try to see and interpret everything in the right way. Give everyone a chance. See the good in everyone and close your eyes to all evil. Now, Brother Hadif is not saying close your eyes to open evil. But what happens is there are people who see evil everywhere. The evil is actually in their own heart, in their own minds. They're traumatized. They have these things are impressed on their mind, and everybody's got a bad motive. Everybody's behaving in with nefarious ways. Okay, close your mind to your eyes to those things. Do not have those kind of thoughts. Think pure, healthy, lovely thoughts about each other. And if you are surprised and the person actually has evil motives to harm you, okay, so it happened. But guess what? Mostly you're going to be pleasantly surprised that the person doesn't have evil intentions toward you. And if you think, oh no, brother, they really do, well then you are proving the point. You have that ingrained deeply. Close your eyes to that, brethren, and see the good in people. And this, brethren, as with everything the Lord commands us to do, is not optional. Saints don't have secret worries and frets and fears and angers and so on. They don't think ill of other people. We are called to be saints. We're called to be the most wonderful gospel missionaries the world has ever seen, the most powerful and effective missionaries of the gospel. And we have to start in this way. Right now, as we go about our daily work here at Bashan, wherever we live, it doesn't matter. We have to start right now treating everyone in this way, seeing everyone in this way. And as it turns out that someone really does have evil in their heart to you, deal with it. There's different ways to deal with it. If it is a physical thing, we are allowed under certain conditions to defend our family and others in the faith and so on, or just anyone. But we also, there are things that we do in the cases of people who just mean social harm to us. What is a very effective way? Heaping coals of fire on their head. It's very effective. Okay? Do good to those who would do harm to you, who would do evil to you. So we have a way of dealing with this, and this is what the Lord requires of us. If we want to stand by and continue to struggle and fail and struggle and fail on the level that we have in the last many, many years, we can. The Lord will allow us to do that, brethren. He will allow every single one of us, and me, everyone, He will allow us to fail if we insist. And brethren, the sad thing is, people do insist on going their own way. I will do my own thing. Just let me call myself a Davidian. Now, for those who can and wish to see a different way, we have to follow this here that the inspiration is telling us. We have to live in this way. This is the message. Okay, this is the everyday part of the message that will determine whether we are sealed or not. And you say, oh no, it's sighing and crying that counts. Well, brethren, if you cannot follow this in your everyday life, you will not have the opportunity and privilege to win souls to Christ. Inspiration tells us that. Do these things and you will be successful in the sighing and crying. Don't do these things and you won't. Now you say, well, I tried. All that counts is I tried. No, you did not truly try, because you did not try according to the way the Lord has laid out. You tried according to your own ways, the way you felt like doing it. Going in and causing trouble, arguments, contentions, whatever. And that is not effective, and that is not what the message teaches. It teaches this, okay? Make friends. Do it this way. Do it this way around in your house, your home, your family, in your workplace, neighborhood, and your church. And the Lord will bless you, and He will bless the efforts that you make, and the work will be blessed, brethren. The work will move forward as we do these things, and we become the people God has asked us to be. Accepting the truth for today is only the first step. It's an easy step, really, compared to the putting it into action. We know that. Some of us have been Davidians for 30, 40, 50 years. It was considerably easier to just accept the truth, read through the message, and yes, I believe. And congratulations, you're a Davidian now. Okay, but we are a Davidian in intent, but we are not a Davidian indeed in our daily life in many ways, brethren. And I want us to be honest. We've talked before about those people who have challenges in their life, whether it be in whatever addiction it is. To deal with any problems, you have to first acknowledge it. And you point your finger at those people like, you acknowledge first and before you can be helped. But we are the same way. We have to acknowledge ourselves that we are coming short. We have been coming short, and we will continue to come short at the rate we're going. Does that mean we're going to be lost? No, it doesn't mean that at all. All things are possible for the Lord. And if the thief on the cross could slip in, I'm sure the Lord has a provision for us too. But it does mean that we are not succeeding today in the way the Lord wants us to, because we have not fully accepted that we need to change. What we need, brethren, is more chart studies. Oh yes, that's what we need. No, brethren, you need to know those things, or you know enough of them and you accept them. And what you need to do is to be living all of the truth now that we have, everything, and becoming the saints that the Lord is going to use, the 144,000 to finish the work. Christian sociability is altogether too little cultivated by God's people. Those who shut themselves up within themselves are unwilling to be drawn upon to bless others by friendly associations, lose many blessings, for by mutual contact minds receive polish, refinement. By social intercourse, acquaintances are formed and friendships contracted, which result in a unity of heart and an atmosphere of love which is pleasing in the sight of heaven. Especially should those who have tasted the love of Christ develop their social powers, for in this way they may win souls to the Savior. Now you start by actually learning to do this for real with other people. You have to be a friendly person. You have to enjoy talking to people in the right way, not in a frivolous way, but you have to enjoy that. You have to have friends. You have to be able to make friends. If every Davidian was already close friends with every other Davidian, we would be at the beginning level here that the Lord wants us to be. We're not. We do need to be close friends. And we learn to be close friends by spending time together, by mutual contact, by social intercourse. This is what is required. This is what is necessary. Now, to the extent that we are not close friends with anyone, cast your mind about in your immediate associations throughout Davidia and so on. If you are not close friends with some other Davidian, we have a problem, okay? We have a problem. We need to be close friends, not only with Davidians, but with Adventists, because that is how we will win souls to the Lord. And we have said this before and tried to teach this, but I think that many people are still more keen to make special comments in Sabbath school, show their knowledge or whatever, or, you know, they were talking about things they knew nothing about. Brother Trevor, I had to say something. Did you really? And were you a blessing to them? No, brethren, don't do that. It is necessary for us to make friends. It is necessary in this way to win souls to Christ. It works. The Lord didn't tell us foolishness. He knows infinitely more than we can imagine. And he laid down the right path for us. There are men who possess excellent faculties, but who have come to a standstill. They do not go forward to victory, and the ability with which God has endowed them is of no value to his cause because it is unused. Many of these men are found among the grumblers. They grumble because they say they are not appreciated, but they do not appreciate themselves sufficiently to cooperate with the greatest teacher the world has ever known. There are many people in this category, and we will sidetrack ourselves from the work. We will sidetrack ourselves from the truth if we go down this path. Do not be among those people who grumble. Do not be among those people who have contentions and have strong feelings against other people. Don't be among those who curse Bashan. If the Lord has blessed Bashan and plans to use Bashan, and I'm using Bashan in the sense of not Bashan Hill, but Bashan as the DSDA association, if the Lord is going to use Bashan to finish the work, who are we to curse Bashan and to grumble and to set up a contention and so on? Brethren, it's a big mistake. God knows what he's doing. He did not make a mistake. We make mistakes. We are wrong, not God. This is our closing thought from Matthew 25, 41, and 46 to begin with. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me no meat. Now, we're seeing the consequences of not being kind, friendly, and helpful, brethren. This is real. These are real things with real consequences. It's not childishness. It's not just foolishness. And some people tend to think like this. It's not the key thing, brother. Let's get on to the studies and so on. No, this is the key thing. And lots of people are going to be in this situation because they didn't really care about what the message teaches. Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me not in. Naked, and ye clothed me not. Sick and in prison, and ye visited me not. Then shall they also answer him and say, Lord, when saw we thee an hungered, or athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? And Davidians will say, and Lord, I really knew the message, and I let the Laodiceans know all their sins and abominations. Then he shall answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did not to one of the least of these, ye did not to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous unto a life eternal. Well, who is the righteous? The righteous are those who are doing right. Doing right. Not believing only. And we have to believe the correctly, brethren. We cannot believe contrary to the truth. There are people who have a perverse spirit, and they will just set themselves up to reject things. I reject the codes. I like to reject some of the message. I reject this. I reject that. Brethren, you cannot do that. We do have to accept the truth. And it is not possible to be saved by rejecting the truth. But it's not possible to be saved if we're not righteous, if we're not constantly doing the right thing. And Brother had a comments on this and says, the most outstanding sin of the goat class of professed believers is that they are all for self and none for others. This is our teaching, brethren. This is what the message is about. This right here, right doing, is that they are all for self and none for others. The sheep class are the opposite in character. The sheep class are friendly, kind, helpful. They are looking to see what good they can do. They don't end the day with no credit in heaven's ledger. Every day they are going to do good. And it's not just because we want to have credit in heaven's ledger. If we only do good because we want our reward, we are actually failing in that. We do good because the Lord has asked us to do this. He has asked us. He has actually sent his Son to die for us. Because he loved us first, we love him. And we are willing to do these things because we do love him. He has asked us, and we are his children, and we want to do the right thing. We want to make him happy. So keep in mind that we do these things not just to get a good credit in heaven's ledger, but that will happen, and it must happen. And don't say, well, I'm not just going to do things to get credit in heaven's ledger. Well, by not doing it, you will actually have sins written across from your name, because you saw someone who was maybe a little lonely. How do you know if they're lonely enough? Certainly, you didn't make an effort to uplift them, and we're supposed to be uplifting each other all the time, every interaction. Can you imagine what would happen if that was constantly going on? Everybody was friendly with each other. Everybody was positive. There was no evil thoughts about anyone. We all had a saint-like good feelings about each other, and we were constantly lifting each other up. It would be a wonderful thing, brethren. It is the kind of thing that the Lord wants to see here at Bashan, and he wants to see it with every Davidian, everywhere they are. Davidians are to be a very special people. To be a Davidian should be one of the things that are it's a remarkable attribute. And it's like your neighbors, oh, he's a Davidian, you know. Okay? And they would be pointing you out. Not for your own glory. It's the glory of the Lord and the message. But that is what it means to be this special people that the Lord is asking us to be. That will be an inevitable effect. Not everyone, the wicked, are going to hate us more. Yeah, of course. But there are many people out there who are attracted to good, who are attracted to the Christ when they see Christ. And they will be attracted, brethren, and they will be impressed when they see us living this message, the gospel, the truth that we have received. Everything. When they see us doing these things, it will have an effect for good all around us, starting in our family, starting in our groups, in our local churches, it will have a powerful effect, brethren. This is what the world is waiting on, to see us Davidians become the people that the Lord has asked us to be. Move in this direction and you will shorten time. Move away, ignore it, go along in the old and cold way that we have been going for many, many years. And the hot and cold way too, sometimes hot, sometimes cold. International events are exciting, I'm all aflame, okay? And then we go back to our usual behavior. When we stop this, and when we become the people that the Lord has asked, we will see great things happen in the world. How do we know that? We know that because the world is ready. The nations are ready. It's being held up now for us. And we don't have to be the holdup. And one last thing, brethren. Anytime the Lord tells us to do something, it's for our own good. We will have social joy when we do this. We will have friendship. Instead of having loneliness, we will have companionship. We'll have friends. We'll have lots of friends. It will be a wonderful thing. And it's a good thing to listen to the Lord. It's a good thing to help other people. Do that because it's the right thing. Don't worry about your reward. You will surely have a reward if you do the right thing. But the Lord wants us to do it regardless. So that is the people He is asking us to be. We have a choice now. Continue as usual or change and move in this direction. And the change, by the way, is just how we treat each other. It's just how you treat each other starting from tomorrow, starting from the time you go out the door. Okay? Starting from now to the rest of your Christian life. So let us choose to go this way, and we will all be blessed, brethren. Thank you. God bless you.